Every small town has a story to tell, something unique that makes it special like no other. For Doraville, Georgia, a suburb of Atlanta, countless stories, big and small, have shaped its people and made it a beloved home to many. I grew up here in the 70s and 80s, and it forever changed my life. At its roots, it is a town with a robust history of hard-working blue-collar folks who come from generations of automotive workers and farmers. At its core, this is a place that celebrates and embraces change and is connected by people of all ages, ethnicities, backgrounds, races, and religions. And at its heart, this is a city that comes together in a big way when tragedy occurs. Like when the GM plant that originally made Doraville was shut down 60 years later, displacing thousands of workers and their families. All of Doraville mourned the loss of this treasured leading character in our story, and we survived. I was made in Doraville when, at the age of 14, tragedy took the lives of my brother and several other classmates during one of the most profoundly catastrophic years in our high school's history. That is when this ordinary city showed her extraordinary heart, and the people of Doraville rallied around me, lifted me up, and said, "We've got you. You're going to be okay." Not only did I survive the darkest moment of my life, but I thrived at a time when circumstances could have led me in a complete opposite direction. So when people ask me what's so special about Doraville and why make a movie, I'd have to say it's her people. And they are what made me the person I am today.
They say she is different, but I can't say why. We love her and leave her without a goodbye. She raised us, she made us, she lives in our blood. This one's for you, Doraville, from your people with love. Played in the creek, rode in the street.
Well, this is pretty cool being back here in Doraville and thinking about what is it about Doraville that makes us all so connected. Why are we like this huge family, even if you don't know each other? What year did y'all move here? Because we moved here in 1964.
We would have moved here in 68.
Our families became so close. And you know, what most sticks out in my mind is when my dad died in 1978, and my mom was left, with these 5 kids by herself. We would go on a trip to Savannah to visit my mom and dad's family. And we'd come home and your dad would be in our house putting in a kitchen floor for us.
Always ready to lend a hand, that was for sure.
Do you remember Mike and David always crawling through the gutters?
Underneath the interstate? Yeah.
David would say, "Mom, I went all the way from our house to Mike's house and we never crossed the street."
One of the families that lived on the street behind us, they had a very large family, I believe 9 kids. And one of my favorite memories is being over at their house around the holidays, especially Christmas. The baked goods that they would have prepared, cookies and cakes and pies and stuff, and just all of us playing in the park with all the neighborhood kids. Everybody connected with each other.
People say to me that they never came back to Doraville, or because of some trauma that they went through, that they've been healing because it allowed them to go back and actually imagine some of the wonderful things and the wonderful people. So I've already seen, and we haven't even shown people this documentary, that it's healing people.
Just a special place to us.
Simple folk, simple life. Dear Doraville, ain't much, but it's home.
A couple of years ago, Danny Howron called me up, and he had really been thinking about the town we grew up in. And he said, "Caroline, I think we need to do a movie about Doraville." Little did he know that one sentence would ignite into a divine intervention that would accompany this project over the next 2 years. Because as soon as the word got out, true to the character of this town, people came out of the woodwork. We didn't have a choice. Her story, our story, had to be told, and if for no other reason but to honor this city and the memory of those who no longer are here to do so. This movie is about the people of Doraville and told by the people of Doraville, including my childhood friend, Atlanta Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb, who was also made in Doraville. And Chris is going to take us back to where the city all began.
When Doraville was established in 1871, she was marked as a symbol of promise amidst the Georgia landscape. Recovering from the Civil War, her location as a whistle stop along the Southern Railway helped her to rebound from the brink of poverty to evolve into a prosperous community. By the turn of the century, she had her own general store, lumber yard, churches, and a school. 1942 is when Doraville first flexed her muscles. Struggling to survive in an all-agricultural economy, the community seemed destined to be left behind as the rest of the nation marched into the industrial age. But amidst this uncertainty, a visionary emerged with a bold idea that would forever change the town's fate. Scott Candler, the lone commissioner overseeing the county that encompassed Doraville, shared an audacious proposal to save the city. He believed that a new water treatment plant could be the key to Doraville's transformation. He was able to get the idea approved, and the Scott Candler filter plant was constructed. The new water plant caught the attention of industrial giants like Shell, Standard Oil, and American Oil. Soon, the area known as the Triangle Refineries, filled with massive oil and kerosene tanks, was born. The refinery and the water plant tipped the scales in Doraville's favor a few years later when General Motors selected Doraville as the canvas for their newest production facility in Georgia. And that assembly plant is why so many families settled in this town back in the day. GM made Doraville. By 1960, Doraville had emerged from the reputation of a worn-out wasteland to the new jewel of the South. A bustling community of over 4,000 souls occupied her streets and parks made up of families. It was during this time that GM dropped the Buick, Oldsmobile, Pontiac verbiage from their signage and became simply the General Motors assembly plant. This name is significant because that assembly plant is where our story begins and ends. This was the pre-digital era, and there was a beautiful simplicity to it. As the cliche goes, our generation, Gen X, played outside all day, freely roaming the streets on our bikes, drinking from the garden hose, and learning firsthand the pain of being hit with a Jart or a BB gun. Returning home only if we couldn't get the bleeding to stop and needed a bit more medical attention. Then it was back outside where we continued to explore our independence until the streetlights came on. We left our front doors unlocked and every parent looked out for every kid.
Every neighborhood had those community moms. These amazing ladies treated all of us as their own. They fed us, tended to our scrapes, and drove us to Little League practice. They cocooned us in a community that allowed us the freedom to gain our independence, but the comfort of knowing a mom was always nearby to make us feel loved, encouraged, and supported. My mother and Miss Walker, they were, in my eyes, were the neighborhood moms. Nobody locked their doors back then. You just kind of come and go to anybody's home and have a snack or a sandwich and then leave.
And like Nancy and Bonnie's mom, Mary, she's been a huge part of my life. I mean, I've lived at that house, spent the night there all the time. Nobody seemed to care that your kids were always at, their house. It just was constant in each other's homes, doing nothing but entertaining each other.
My family moved to Live Oak Drive in Doraville the summer of '72. It was the summer before I started the 4th grade at Oak Cliff Elementary And we were still unloading boxes, and all the talk on the street was about this refinery fire that had just taken place a few months prior. And it was only about a mile from our new home. I remember listening to the stories of our new neighbors telling my parents about what was going on. As an 11-year-old, I wasn't real sure I wanted to stay in this new place.
April 6, 1972 is a day etched in Doraville's history. The news reported that the inferno that engulfed the Triangle refineries was a tragedy of unparalleled magnitude. The explosion was heard from miles around and launched a firestorm that raged for 4 agonizing days, leaving devastation in its wake and claiming the lives of 2 souls. The intensity of the flames was beyond comprehension, turning storage tanks into melted giants and reducing the lights on top of the fire trucks to puddles of metal. Even the heaviest fire hoses perished, bursting under the relentless assault of the heat. Amidst the chaos, the bravery of the firefighters was matched only by the resilience of the community they served. Hundreds of residents, forced to flee their homes in the face of impending danger, found refuge in the welcoming embrace of nearby elementary schools, hotels, and homes of compassionate friends.
When the explosion happened, I remember running into my mom and dad's room, and I remember my dad was up on all fours looking out of the window, and he knew immediately. I remember him saying to my mom, one of the tanks exploded. So he jumped up and he was gone. I mean, we didn't see him for weeks. I mean, he would come back and forth and shower and eat, and he had to stand guard at the tanks because they didn't know if the fire would spread.
I drove over there and was looking down in the hole there where the fire was at. And that whole tank, and I guess it was, I don't know how many thousands of gallons of hell, but it was a big one. And you could actually nearly see through that tank. It was so red. It was just unreal. And there's a branch, a little creek run down behind it. What happened, the furnace of one of the houses kicked on and ignited it from there, and it went back up that branch, and that's what caught the tank afire.
I do remember that the neighborhood behind the gas tanks, they had to be evacuated, and we knew a lot of people back there, so a lot of those folks evacuated to our home and to some other homes, of course. And there was one man that perished in the explosion, and his son came to our house, and at the time, he didn't know and we didn't know that his dad had passed. He was a couple of years older than me, but not much. I was 5 at the time, and really didn't understand the magnitude of it and what it had done to really form Doraville. It had such an impact on all of us. Just a super sad time for the community, for sure.
Even in her darkest hour, the spirit of Doraville shined through. From all corners of the town, volunteers rallied together, answering the call for aid with unwavering determination. In the aftermath of the fire, as the smoke cleared and the flames were finally quenched, Doraville was exhausted, but stood united in mourning, a testament to the strength of community in the face of adversity. It was in 1974 when, in the aftermath of the devastating refinery fire, a local band named Atlanta Rhythm Section, or ARS, came onto the scene. Georgia Music Hall of Famer Buddy Bowie and his partner J.R. Cobb opened a recording studio called Studio One in Doraville. Atlanta Rhythm Section was one of the first bands to record there. That studio was eventually frequented by other well-known artists of the same, such as 38 Special, Journey, Leonard Skinner, and Paul Davis. Inspired by the resilience of this small town, ARS and Bowie crafted a melody that echoed the spirit of her people.
Doraville, touch a country in the city. Doraville, it ain't much, but it's home.
Through its uplifting notes and infectious rhythm, the song was exactly what the city needed to fuel our determination to carry on. This tune, aptly named Doraville, climbed the music charts and became ARS's first top 40 hit off their album, Third Annual Pipe Dream. The original vocalist of the Atlanta Rhythm section was Rodney Justo. He left the band, though, in 1972 after the release of their first album. He was replaced by the vocalist Ronnie Hammond. Ronnie was the vocalist for the song Doraville. He passed away in 2011. That was when the original vocalist, Rodney Justo, returned to the band as lead singer, and he's been with them ever since. He still tours with the band today and was kind enough to let us interview him.
I always liked the song. You know, there's a line in there, all my friends say I ought to move to New York. New York's fine, but it ain't Doraville.
Friends of mine say I'll move to New York. New York's fine, but it ain't Doraville.
You know, this comes out just after I moved to New York. And I never gave it much thought until I had a couple friends tell me, says, yeah, they went after you on that thing, huh? So if it's a dig, it's kind of cute. If it's not a dig, I'm okay with that too.
As families continued to stream into Doraville and new schools sprouted up, something magical took shape: Little League. Doraville Little League, known officially as North DeKalb Youth Association, emerged. And it wasn't just a pastime, it became the beating heart of our community. When game day rolled around, you could bet every parent and neighbor showed up for what became a social experience.
Honeysuckle Park, Flowers Park, Keswick Park, and the Doraville Recreation Center weren't just buildings and patches of grass with swings. They were the sanctuaries of Doraville's kids. It didn't matter who you were or what troubles you were facing, North DeKalb Little League made many of us Doraville kids, and it's still a thriving subculture today. Woven into the fabric of those parks were the unsung heroes, the ones who shaped us as much as the playgrounds themselves. Numerous volunteers of selfless moms and dads coached our Little League teams, teaching us how to win and lose gracefully. Names like Forrest Fleming, Jim Bob Atkinson, Tom Staples, Larry Spangler, Howard Smith, Carol Stevens, Skip Liddell, Ronnie Coggins, and Paul Cross showed up year after year to coach Doraville's youth. They were pillars of the community, providing structure, discipline, and encouragement to all the kids, producing athletes like David Beard, who went on to be drafted by the Oakland A's, and Kirk Roach, who was the first and only barefoot place kicker for the Buffalo Bills.
I ended up coaching for almost 42 years, and I did it because when my parents were divorced when I was 8 years old, we moved into Doraville, Georgia. And being from a divorced family, people assume things that weren't true about my family just because my parents were divorced. And I can tell you, when I pulled up to City Hall in Doraville to register, I had 4 men that literally pulled me out of the car and all hugged me and hugged my mom. It was Ed Giles, Forrest Fleming, Jim Atkinson, and Ronnie Coggins. I was 9 years old, and I had so many great mentors. I knew I was where I was supposed to be immediately. And through their love in nurturing so many children for all different walks of life, I was just one example of many. They all lifted me up and my brother up. It wasn't hard to decide as that's the kind of man I wanted to be too.
Jim Bob Atkinson, who also worked at the GM plant, was another one of those pillars in the community whom you could find cultivating Doraville's youth from the sidelines at Honeysuckle Park. His neighborhood backed up to the park, so when he wasn't working at GM, he was at Honeysuckle Park coaching, organizing the entire football program, or faithfully mowing the grass, which he did for 40 years. Jim Bob's son, Chucky Atkinson, was made at Honeysuckle Park in Doraville. After college, he returned to the city and joined the police force, serving the community he and his father loved so much for the last 31 years.
Doraville is the reason I'm where I'm at. Growing up here was unbelievable. Like you mentioned, my dad he worked at General Motors, but he was very involved in the youth sports, and that was like family. You know, that was a second home. I mean, I knew where I was gonna be at just about every evening, and I knew where I was gonna be at every Saturday. It was at that park, and it was a way of life, really. I mean, it was just unbelievable experience.
And when we finally got old enough to step into the revered halls of Sequoia High School, it felt like a kind of a homecoming, heartwarming family reunion. We were now classmates with the same kids we'd grown up playing ball with in Little League, and you could just feel the sense of excitement and camaraderie. We'd gone from playing ball at the neighborhood parks and recreation centers to now playing in school gymnasiums and under the Friday night lights of football stadiums.
We moved down to Georgia from Michigan in '74 and started playing softball, I think, that next year. So that helped a lot, getting to know people, getting to know their parents.
Playing sports made it very easy, and we knew everybody, people knew us.
I played basketball 2 years, 11th and 12th, but basketball wasn't it for me, it was football. So I think that's where I started fitting in more, was through football. And Coach Reese, he was a good guy. I love Coach Reese.
What really captivated me about high school was entering with an entirely new group of educators. I mean, except for those that had kids who played Little League with us, all of these teachers were fresh faces, and they brought kind of a new novelty and curiosity. You know, looking back, I guess I was made in Doraville at that high school. The teachers and coaches who took me under their wings, they changed the trajectory of my life and set me on a positive course that really has shaped the person I am today.
Soccer was so new in this area, and I distinctly remember Mike Levine. Mike Levine took up the coaching, and I recall him asking like us things as to drills and how to do soccer. And that really, built up my confidence.
Cassandra Watkins, if not for her, I would have never started playing basketball. She taught me into playing basketball in the 8th grade. And I was like, well, I don't have any friends, I don't know anyone, and I'm gonna be the only black person on the team. She's like, just go and do it, we'll have a lot of fun. And she taught me into it.
And Coach Taylor, like Watkins and Taylor, man, those were the go-to coaches for me.
It was just awesome. They made things so easy.
Our school was predominantly white in the 70s and 80s, but it was during this time that our county implemented the minority to majority M2M program. The purpose of this innovative program was to integrate our student population and provide equal opportunities for all students in the county to receive good quality education. We were fortunate to have some absolutely amazing African-American teachers like Sharon Taylor and Cassandra Watkins, who patiently and lovingly helped teach us that our differences are what made us stronger. It was their grace and compassion that further solidified my goal to become a PE teacher myself.
Mid-70s was an interesting time period. I was fortunate, however, because I grew up in a predominantly white school. So in coming to the Doraville area, it was very comfortable. I felt accepted.
I came in 1980, and at the time it was still predominantly white. In terms of the students, they were very respectful. I didn't have any issues with race while I was there.
Towards the 80s, we saw a swing in different nationalities. I remembered hearing the N-word once. During the day, someone from the boys' dressing room yelled it out. Everyone froze. There were kids in the hallway. Everyone froze and looked at me as if to say, what is she going to do? I composed myself. I walked over to the boys' dressing room. I kicked the door in. A chorus person scattered. I never found out who said it, but it stung a bit because it was unexpected. But the beauty of it was the reaction of the kids that heard it too. And they froze. And I felt supported at that point because They didn't like it either.
I think Doraville and Sequoia experience prepared me for everything else I did with career-wise and being able to talk to anybody for that matter. It has always given me that sense of this is where I ended up calling home. We all really were just family.
It was just completely different in Doraville back then than it is now. You don't see kids outside playing. Like, if you wanted to find your friends, go to the yard where all the bicycles were laying in the front yard. That's where everybody was. Or you go to the creek, everyone's throwing stones in the creek. Everyone just congregated and just had fun. It was just always fun.
We had such an amazing childhood like that. Like, everybody was involved. It was just a community. Everybody knew each other, and I swear you could pass 50 homes that you knew who lived where on the way to where you're going. I felt safe and loved, just really loved.
Doraville continued to prosper as our community became more and more diverse in the 90s and 2000s. The 1996 Summer Olympics held in Atlanta put a spotlight on our community, attracting immigrants with the increase in job opportunities in commercial construction and business ownership. According to Wikipedia, the Buford Highway community is home to one of the highest concentrations of foreign-born residents in the country. It literally became a melting pot.
It was the 1990s, and I was teaching at the school I had graduated from. Our once predominantly white town had blossomed into a vibrant, diverse community, enriched by children from a myriad of cultures, backgrounds, and ethnicities. Many of my students were from broken homes or troubled backgrounds. So my own experience of loss as a teenager enabled me to connect with them on a deeper level. We could just recognize the pain in each other's eyes. I felt a profound calling to pay it forward and to nurture and support those kids in the same way the city had done for me all those years ago. During the decade that I taught there, I encountered and was enriched by kids from at least 47 different nationalities, literally from all over the world. Being a teacher was the most rewarding, yet most difficult job I have ever had in my life. Those kids broke my heart every single day, but I loved them so much, and I'm still in touch with many of them today. One of my students in the 1990s was Jamilfred Butler. Jamilfred was one of my cheerleaders at Sequoia, and she was part of this minority to majority M2M program. Like me and so many others, after graduating from college, Jamilfred returned home to teach the next generation of kids.
Literally, that's why I am the teacher that I am, literally. I have to be that teacher that I have. The culture of school was different. It was family. I remember always feeling safe. For whatever reason, we went from being children to being family. That's why I said, I gotta go back. I'm 45 years old. Nobody would have told me that at 45 that I would have gone back to teach. But it has been the most phenomenal decision I think I have ever made in my life. Sequoia taught me how very powerful I am because I found myself by being able to cheer. I never looked like any other cheerleader. I wasn't made up like any other cheerleader. So I'm the cheerleading coach now. I find a girl every year that was me, and I give her an opportunity to say, I'm strong. You don't look like everybody else. I'm gonna practice them jumps all summer. But it means a lot. It means a lot.
Our adventure with Doraville, the city itself and the plant, started in 1954 when my father got hired on at General Motors. And he started working there in 54 and stayed there till 84, and I got to work with him from 77 to 84. Came out in 76 to be an engineer, and they asked me if I could work on the assembly line for a year. Then they come back and hire me as an engineer, and I said yes. The assembly line is pretty tough to start with.
Blisters all on your hand.
Once I got the apprenticeship program, every day was different. Every job we did was different than the job before. It was great, and I had more fun. Then I got elected to the union, and it was on then. The pressure came in 1963 to hire African Americans, and they did such a fabulous job. To this day, they're still referred to by us as the pioneers. Mr. Banks, James Banks, who I really respect, is one of those pioneers that came in 1963. Not only did Mr. Banks prove to be a great worker, he is also one of the first African Americans to get in the apprenticeship program.
Well, it was bad for blacks in them days because they figured you couldn't do what they could do. And when I got off the line and went in the apprenticeship program to be a journeyman, and it was just like working in a different plant.
The jump from production to skilled trades is so big that it changes your entire life.
I stayed there to 1998, but it was a whole lot of change. I was treated pretty good after that.
That morning when the vice president flew in, Zahner, and they called, I come to work at 4 o'clock every morning, so they called and he said, when Willie gets here at 6, I need you and Willie in my office, the plant manager. And that's when they notified us we were going to close. We had to get on the inter-plant communication system and do a video with the plant manager to explain we were closing, and then people they stopped working. They shut the lines down, people were crying. I watched grown men in their 80s and 90s sit there and weep as the big bulldozers were tearing it down because they had been there for 30, 40, 50 years. We were such a huge presence in the city of Doraville. That plant was the magnet for that city. I mean, if the plant wasn't there, Doraville wouldn't be what Doraville is today.
That GM plant stayed abandoned for over a decade. It was a sad sight to see.
Yeah, but you know, our story doesn't end there. Doraville, through a Hail Mary pass, began a long-distance relationship with none other than Hollywood. 15 years after the GM plant closed, Assembly Atlanta was made.
Built on the grounds of the former General Motors assembly plant, Assembly Studio stands as a nod to both the past and present. From the state-of-the-art sound stages to the wide array of exterior filming locations, such as New York's brownstones, European limestone elevations, and the New Orleans French Quarter, filmmakers and content creators have the perfect canvas to bring their vision to life.
And now we've come full circle. We returned earlier this year to the former GM lot that made our city to hold a fundraiser for our movie. I just want to give a little tribute to Mr. Singleton, who this race is named after. Our documentary is called Made in Doraville, and Mr. Singleton has made many of us. The city of Doraville created a magical day for us all. Throughout the day, Sequoia alumni from the past 5 decades graced us with their presence, celebrating the rich and resilient character of Doraville's history. It was a beautiful event filled with nostalgia and hope, a testament to the spirit of our community. I'm sure my brother, along with all other Doravillians who no longer walk this earth, were rejoicing from above during that event. This film is a heartfelt tribute to the cherished town that made us. Over the past 2 years, we have poured our hearts into capturing her essence and trying to honor her in a way that makes people proud. Through every challenge we faced, and there have been many, we were equally blessed with moments of grace that propelled us forward. Over the course of those 2 years, we've also had to say goodbye to too many dear friends and family. We faced health scares together and endured tragedies that tore families apart. Yet, through these hardships, we found strength in the unity that differentiates our city, rekindling old bonds and forging new ones. That is what makes this town so special, and her story so worth telling. So our story, Doraville's story, is far from over. We're just starting a new chapter. So welcome to Doraville.
They say she's different but can't explain why. We love her, then leave her without a goodbye. She raised us, made us, lives in our blood. This one's for you, dear Doraville, with love. We played in her creeks, rode in her streets. Around here she's well known. Simple folks, simple life. Dear Doraville, ain't much but it's home. Ain't much but it's home.
When
So
I
he's
extend,
gonna go
I'm
like
gonna
this,
extend up.
and I'm gonna help push, and then I'm gonna catch my leg.
She's been built
And so
up,
he's
I know.
going
I
to,
know.
you're gonna
Crazy.
guide
He really
me
put
up.
this
but
So
she
you're
never
gonna
gave up. She's a blue collar
stay
town. She's GM for trucks, Little League and homecoming. July 4th.
All right, hold my waist. All right, ready? One, okay, and then move out of the way, Bill. Three, go.
Rode in her streets. Around here she's well known. Simple folks, simple life. Dear Doraville, ain't much but it's home. Ain't much but it's home.
Oh, I knew that was gonna happen.
Coach dads in public pools, room moms, high school. Didn't need much, but we had love. Played by our own rules, Doraville, old school. We love you for that. And we played in her creeks, rode in her streets. Around here she's well known. Simple folks, simple life. Dear Doraville, ain't much but it's home. Ain't much but it's home. She has southern charm. You're met with open arms, red, white, and blue. Dear Doraville, thank you. We played in her creeks, rode in her streets. Around here she's well known. Ain't much but it's home.